there are simpler things that you can do, like spot treatments, let's say, that you can do. And that would be like taking a walk, taking a 20-minute walk by yourself and listening to music. That can increase your parasympathetics, which is the restorative part of our nervous system. Taking deep breaths, like I had said earlier, for those who are familiar with yoga, it's like that is the primary focus of yoga, is to focus on your breath, right? So if you can make an effort to take 3 deep breaths, one, knowing that your exhalation needs to be twice as long as your inhalation, doing that revs up your parasympathetics, which is that restorative part of our nervous system. So those, and just taking a pause, like now that people aren't having to commute to work, although you would think that they've gained time for those that are working from home, what people have found is that people are working more, like they can't make that distinction between work and home anymore. So you actually have to make a conscious effort to decide, I have a commute time, but it's home time. And during that time, you would either listen to music, read something leisure, watch a show that you always wanted to, or take that time to meditate and reflect on just your feelings, your thoughts, and tune in to yourself and others. And I don't know, we always talk about thinking positively, trying not to be so negative. And that being active, trying to actively be positive, can actually do wonders to how you feel overall.
Wow, that's really really amazing. One of the things that myself have helped manage my stress is, as you mentioned, practicing breathing, and also pause. Pause is very important. There's a certain time you have to say, no, I need to stop this and just pause. So it's really amazing that how breathing put me, aligned with myself, and also I can control myself, my stress, and how, you talk about trouble sleeping when you stress specifically. So sometimes I caught myself in the middle of the night feeling stressed, and the mind continued to think like a lot of things, different things. But when I start the deep breathing techniques, wow, I feel calmer, and I can, in the next 15 minutes, I can sleep peacefully. So this is really one of the techniques that you mentioned, and among the mindfulness techniques as well, that might be very, very helpful for us and all the women around the world, like going through the same thing.
And
So,
just another simple thing before I forget is aromatherapy. When we smell something, it can bring us down. It can make us think of happy memories. Because remember, it all starts with your emotion and what you're feeling. Are you in fear? Are you feeling pressured? So if you smell something that can bring back a positive memory, that will also rev up your parasympathetics. And taking the time to touch yourself, like a hand massage with a scented lotion, that would also just bring you down temporarily, at least. And for those who are religious, I always tell them to lean on their higher power, because that can definitely help them get through those hard times. Because women, we do so much, and at the end of the day, we have to realize that there's only so much that we can control. A lot is out of our control. And so once we accept that, once we realize that, I think that some of that pressure goes away, but it's a hard thing to get through.
oh wow, absolutely. This is really practical, insightful techniques, and Also, I'd like also to raise issues about stress around the children, your own children, because I believe it can have a huge impact on them. How can we make sure they don't fall behind socially and academically because of our stress, sometimes disconnection even with our own children?
Well, I'd say that children feed off of the people around them. So if you are fearful and stressed, you best believe your child will start to manifest and emulate the same behaviors that you yourself are doing. So the first thing I would tell a parent is just try to be very aware of what you're exposing your children to. You know, if you need to go to another room to relieve that stress, go elsewhere. Don't let them see it. Turn off the TV. You know, they don't need to hear all the bad things that's going on around the world, because that will lead to their fear hormones and rev up their sympathetics, and it's a hard thing to explain to children. So you want to try to keep them as children for as long as possible.
Wow, that's really, really awesome. Awesome. Our kids is they don't have to be victims of our own behavior. So it's very, very important we protect them and we let them grow like in a very good environment. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you cover most of the questions and concerns that I really had. It's the whole science behind that, the techniques, the tips, the strategies. It's very, very clear and a very simple language. Thank you very much, Dr. Liane, for this amazing, insightful presentation. I really, really deeply appreciate that.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for those who are watching this video. Let's continue to learn and explore